Hey guys, welcome to today's video. So, I was hopping out shopping and, well, this kind of caught my eye. Friends, makeup brushes, Friends, eyeshadow palette, paid about $10.50 for both. So, I've seen these brushes, I've seen the eyeshadow palette. I'm like, okay, alright, okay. I have never done anything, haven't tried anything from this Corrigan brand. I've seen Friends related stuff, but a lot of it was like bath bombs, all sorts of stuff, bath soaps, all sorts of things. Found this at Superstore. Right. So, I'm like, okay, alright. I see us walking, I was like, as I do, I haven't been to Superstore in a while. I find all sorts of knickknacks, all sorts of weird things at Superstore. I was like walking around, and then like, because the Superstore has these tables type thing, and walking around. Well, okay, alright. Okay, there's makeup brushes. There is eyeshadow palette. Okay, I put it in my basket, continue walking around, and I have very little faith. Very little faith with these brushes and this eyeshadow palette. I don't got very high hopes for it, but maybe it might exceed my expectations. I have no clue. When it comes to brushes, eyeshadow brushes, in these kits, half of them are a miss. So, before I completely throw it, case, it comes with a powder brush. The powder brush is oh, come on, let's go. Okay, let's go. Okay, so the powder brush is the purple one here. That one. Feels very, at least from first impressions of the brushes, they're super soft. It might be okay, this one might be okay for powder. Might be fine. The contour one. Ooh. So my contour brushes have a bit of a divot to it. Like, this is a good contour brush by e.l.f. So it's like it has to your contour. It like has it for like right here. Pivots of your face. And I got another one. I got another contour brush. Yeah, this one, I don't know. It might be fine. I don't know. And then this one is the foundation brush. This one, for a foundation brush, it's too soft. Because I got foundation brushes, like, this one's more densely packed type thing. More flatter, so you could easier go this way. And then I got the Smashbox foundation brush, dual fiber one. Again, easier to work with. These are two I use all the time for foundation wise. This one I will attempt to do it, but I think the size of it's too small too. Is it too soft? Too flimsy? These ones, it's like, they're a little bit like, there's like that. Yeah, like these are more densely packed. This one's like too soft. Might not like it. And then the other two is, yeah, this one for an eyeshadow brush. It's saying it's an eyeshadow brush. To me, it's like slightly tilted. It's like it could be a good liner brush, brow brush type thing. It's definitely not a typical eyeshadow brush. Like I got billions of eyeshadow brushes. Most of your typical brushes look more flat, like this, more curvature type way. First is a good shader brush. You can also go with this way, the more good crease brush from Scott Barnes. Like, and then also a good one is my MAC 239 one. It's a good typical brush type thing. The Sephora one. Pro shadow brush type thing. I got a billion other shadow brushes, and this other one is a concealer brush. So the concealer brushes are more like for like patting in here type thing. And a lot of times my concealer brushes almost look like exactly the same as my like follows the same category almost as my eyeshadow brushes, but like a little bit bigger. As I see, I just use my brushes what I feel like. There's no rules against brushes. You just make your do what you're. It's like I talked to. It's like don't be afraid of tools. Do what you feel like doing, like what your tools you want to do with it. So yeah, I am gonna give these brushes a quick spritz down with the Simo Secrets because your brushes always need a good rinse down, sanitation wise. I am probably what I'm going to do is go into the French palette first because I have zero clue how much fallout is in this palette. So yeah. I am going to attempt to use some of these brushes, which is going to be very hard because I particularly don't that Simo Secrets is making me cough. I don't know if I'm going to feel like using this one because and each of the brushes have a little quote on it type thing. So yeah. So this one is they don't know that we know what they know. I can't remember if they made the reference or not type thing. So I'm gonna dive into the Shy Shadow palette right here. I paid $10.50 for this palette. So yeah. So yeah, paper does not go. So yeah, I am gonna start with my MAC Page Away Paint Pot as my base. So I am going to do my eyes first in case if there's a lot of fallout type thing. It'll be interesting how these mattes blend because there's only 2 mattes in this palette. I know. And paper snow ghost. Oh dear Lord, no, yeah. That's the 2 swatches. The purple did not, like literally just did not swatch at all. So I am going to go in with my Scott Barnes palette first. my Scott Barnes blending brush first in the crease. So I'm gonna go with I Know. There's a little bit of a kickback, which is fine by me. Probably what I should have done first is clean my shadow brush here first, because God knows it might have good Natasha Denona on it, so. And like this brown is not showing up whatsoever. So I feel like I have to like dip in this palette a few times just to get my crease color build up in there. Yeah, this purple color here, there's zero pigment to it. Like, I tried that brush, like, it doesn't work. I have to like really build this, like mattes are like a lot harder to formulate, so mattes tells you a lot, like if the palette's good or not. And like my, oh god, yeah, this, like, I'm trying to build color outside my crease here, and it's like literally like not like, this is bad. Like, you want a dark color on the outside of your crease type thing, like outer corner, like you want a decent color. And it's mattes. Mattes, again, like, they're a lot harder to formulate, so. Like, I'm getting like, like, ooh, God. I had, like I said at the beginning, like, for this eyeshadow palette, I had very little non-existent expectations for this palette whatsoever, and it's bad. Like, honestly. Thank goodness I paid only like what, $10.50 for it. Like, I'm trying to, like, metallics are not even working in this palette. And how the heck you manage not to screw up the metallic? Like, I'm getting, like, frustrated here because I use a lot of my fingers, so for metallics type thing. So what I'm gonna do is go in like probably gonna go in with taxi cab or something. Because like now the taxi cab is literally the only thing that actually feels wet, like creamy wet. Some foundation brush. Powder brush. Okay. Okay, so I am gonna prime my face with some Tatcha. My nose is super itchy. So then I'm gonna do my beauty blender and some Eyeshadow mix. So I'm doing the mix that I normally do, so therefore I can give the brush my normal brush what I normally do it with. So then we're gonna test out the foundation brush. I do have my other brushes on hand if I don't like it. So let's try the foundation brush. So I do my normally, don't know what I do, tap it in type thing. Neatly, I just maybe this brush is more a powder brush. If it is, yeah, you know what? It's too flimsy. I am going to hop over to my F80 from... That brush is like way too flimsy for me. The bristles, it's not stiff enough. Yeah, like it's too flimsy. It's too flimsy of a bristle brush for me type thing. And then the eyeshadow brush is like no. So 2 of the brushes out of that kit is a no-go. The eyeshadow is 50-50. I might depot some of the colors out of it just to keep some of it because some of them are what turned out really nice. But the mattes in that palette are like no. And then I am going to go with my Tarte. And then my Adrian for my concealer. And I'm going to test out the concealer brush. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of concealer brushes in general. Might maybe come in handy when I do the inner corner part. But like, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the concealer brush. If I do, I like going in with the F80 with my concealer brush. I'm pat it. So, okay, so I goes quickly through my camera battery is dying on me, so I don't know how well this video is turning out. In a way, so I am going to go with my CoverGirl with this powder brush. Seeing how well it goes, I have very little. The way this is going, I have very little faith. I'm going to use this powder brush for like bronzer too, so. Again, it's too flimsy of a brush for me, so I don't like it. I'm more of a stiffer. Like, I got a good powder brushes from Scott Barnes. I got Marc Jacobs brushes here that are more like, these are like I'm talking about my powder brushes. Like, they're more densely packed and a lot bigger, so they're making better powder brushes. And then even my e.l.f. one here, it's a bigger powder brush. It's not like, it's like I can go like this, cover more dense, and then this is like not a very good powder, like not my go-to anyway. So let's go to the bronzer, to my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. You get some bronzer on this face. Again. Maybe I'll go in with the also try the contour one out for not planning on doing much anything anyways, because it's like pretty snowy and wet, snowy and cold out there, so it's a normal work day for me. So the one I honestly might keep out of this kit because it's not more dense is this contour brush. All the other brushes, there's like a complete pass. Even my e.l.f. brushes I have are like a better quality brushes, because I got a few e.l.f. brushes here. Like I got this e.l.f. brush there, and then I got the contour, the sculpting face brush, and then this e.l.f. brush, the contouring brush. Like I use this one a lot for creams. And then I got spoolie brush from e.l.f. And I got another brush from e.l.f. for you. And then that brush from e.l.f. here. Like I got good set e.l.f. brushes, and e.l.f. brushes are a lot cheaper than this whole kit put together type thing. So yeah. I'm gonna add some blush. I'm gonna go with the so let's do a quick breakdown of these Friends brushes. Like most of them are a pass of the set. I am gonna keep the contour one, this one right here, because I like how it's done up. But rest of the brushes are honestly a pass. Like too soft. Like there's a fine line brushes. I don't mind them, they're soft, but like they're too not densely packed enough in a way, so therefore making it very flimsy and doesn't make it easy to blend type thing. So the Friends eyeshadow, the Friends brushes are a complete pass. As for the eyeshadow palette, as I initially was thinking of it, like there's a few colors on here aren't bad. I might just depot it and put it, ow, I swapped myself in the eye. I might just depot it and keep some of the colors out of here, because 2 or 3 of the colors that I like Taxi Cab, Pivot, and honestly, like a lot of this, like they're like these 2 colors, those colors that I like the most out of it, and then the maybe not even the brown, like even Bamboozled is not that great. You're My Lobster. Like this palette, honestly, maybe there's 2-3 colors out of the palette that I kind of like, but then a lot off of most of it is a complete pass. If you see this, just walk past it. You can get better palettes from like the Wet n Wild palette, the LA Girl palette. You can get these colors a lot cheaper. Like this one's $11.50, and this is about around the same price of this palette. You can get these palettes for a lot cheaper. They're easier to blend, better mattes in them type thing. Yeah. And even some of my other drugstore palettes, like my I got my e.l.f. palette here, Quio. Like these palettes are drugstore brands that honestly are better. The completely walk past this palette is ignore it. Like no, like thank goodness it's a non-work day for me. I'm like, I would not be going to work with this eyeshadow on. Like it's like I'm testing out some lashes. I don't know how I like it on me, but I'm putting on some naked lashes. They're actually pretty easy. Like one was like easier to put on than the other. So I'm testing them. I'm working on these lashes. I want to get better at putting lashes on myself. So I think that this palette, the Friends palette, is a complete pass. The whole Friends thing, a complete pass. A complete fail on my part. The 2 colors on there maybe the best thing of the palette. And then maybe the one of the brushes. Like if you see it, if you walk past it, just walk past it. Don't waste your time on this one. I'm not a huge fan of returning brushes, so I might just donate them. So yeah. This is a complete bummer of a palette, complete bummer of brushes. Go to e.l.f., go to Sephora. Even though there might be some other better drugstore brushes, like Quio brushes are a little bit better there, but they don't price our size, so e.l.f. brushes are better. This palette is a complete dud. Brushes are a dud. So yeah, if you want more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe, don't ring the bell, and absolutely best of 2020 and fails of 2020 are coming soon. Or 2021? Fails of 2021?